All right, let's dive right into this explainer. We're breaking down Lionel Messi's tactical evolution at the 2026 World Cup into a complete, super easy to understand blueprint. Now, if you're a casual fan, or maybe you haven't tracked his literally every move since his peak European club days or that magical night in Qatar back in 2022, you might honestly be expecting the exact same player. But at 38 years old, playing in this massive North American tournament, Messi has fundamentally transformed. Head coach Lionel Scaloni has built this entire tactical system around him to basically mask his physical limits while maximizing his absolute genius. Today, we're going to look exactly at how they pull it off. Here is our fast-paced roadmap to demystify this whole evolution. 1. The modern Messi myth. 2. Building the defensive shield. 3. Enzo Fernandez, the deep dictator. 4. Finding pockets of space. And finally, number 5, the ultimate dual threat. All right, let's kick things off with section 1. The modern Messi myth. So we're going to start by challenging everything you might assume about how the Argentina captain actually plays the game today. It's kind of a provocative question to ask about literally one of the greatest goal scorers in the history of the sport, right? But looking at his role in 2026, we genuinely have to ask, does the traditional label of forward even apply to him anymore? If you tune into an Argentina match expecting to see him just constantly making blistering runs in behind the defensive line or relentlessly pressing the opposition goalkeeper, well, you're in for a surprise. Because the reality is night and day. He is no longer just that final finisher waiting in the box, or that dynamic winger taking on 3 players from the halfway line. The 2026 reality? Messi is now the primary tactical playmaker orchestrating Argentina's entire attack. He is the connector. The team's tactical setup is explicitly designed to maximize his creative output. So he's evolved into a pure final third creator who completely dictates the flow, the rhythm, and the direction of the game. Moving on to section 2, building the defensive shield. Now, a free-roaming 38-year-old playmaker absolutely cannot exist without a rock-solid foundation working tirelessly behind him. I mean, you can't have a luxury creator if your defense is constantly leaking goals, right? This brings us to a crucial concept called rest defense. It's basically the hidden structural secret that protects the team while Messi works his magic up front. Modern international football is all about transition. And if you have a player like Messi who, let's face it, doesn't really track back to defend anymore, you need a flawless structure behind him. Rest defense ensures that even when Argentina is attacking, their deepest players are perfectly positioned to stop counterattacks immediately if the ball is turned over. Out of possession, this rest defense instantly builds into this impenetrable 4-4-2 wall. The second Argentina loses the ball, they drop into a highly disciplined structure, creating 2 tight banks of 4. Because Messi is completely relieved of heavy defensive duties, his teammates have to work in absolute unison to cover those spaces. And man, the execution is staggering. During the qualifying campaign, this setup famously restricted opponents to a mere 1.7 shots on target per match. They conceded only 10 goals across 18 games. That defensive solidity, that is the absolute prerequisite for Messi's freedom.
Which takes us to section 3, Enzo Fernandez, the deep dictator.
So, with a defense securely set, we have to look at the midfield engine that actually liberates Messi from having to drop too deep into his own half just to get the ball. Enter Chelsea's Enzo Fernandez. I mean, just look at that incredible 87.5% passing accuracy. In previous years, if Argentina couldn't progress the ball, Messi would have to drop all the way back to the defensive line to pick it up himself. He doesn't need to do that anymore. Enzo is the deep dictator setting the tempo for the entire squad, completing hundreds of passes and ensuring the ball reaches the final third securely. The crucial point here is this very clear division of labor on the pitch. Enzo handles the heavy lifting of deep distribution, which grants Messi absolute freedom higher up the field. Because Enzo, along with players like Alexis McAllister and Rodrigo de Paul, completely control the rhythm from the center, Messi gets to conserve his physical energy purely for the moments that matter most. You know, those decisive defense-splitting passes and shots right in the attacking third. Next up, section 4, finding pockets of space. Now we're going to zoom in on the how. How exactly Messi applies this advanced freedom during the actual flow of a fast-paced World Cup match. Instead of strict, rigid positioning, where he's just glued to the right wing, Messi is granted complete tactical freedom. If you watch him closely during a game, he notoriously spends vast amounts of time literally just walking, to the point where it's become a bit of an internet meme, right? But actually, he's continuously scanning the pitch, taking mental photographs of the opposition's defensive block. He adapts to the positional rotations of his teammates, drifting away from defenders to locate and exploit these really dangerous central pockets of space between the midfield and defensive lines. By the time he finally receives the ball in those pockets, he already knows his next move before the defenders can even react. It's like a giant puzzle to him.
And finally, Section 5, the ultimate dual threat. So let's bring it all home with the statistical proof that this evolution into a playmaker hasn't blunted his lethal edge at all. He's not just passing the ball, he's absolutely still destroying opponents. This tournament features FIFA's brand new official player power rankings, which they developed with Arsene Wenger using football intelligence algorithms and match data. Just looking at this table from the group stages, we see Messi sitting right near the very top of the attacking data globally, with a massive 8.33 score. He's barely behind Germany's Denis Undav and noticeably ahead of French superstar Kylian Mbappe. Even as a deep line creator, his attacking output remains mathematically elite.
And this data seamlessly backs up his South American qualifying run. Argentina boasted the highest scoring attack and arguably the hardest qualifying region in the world, netting an incredible 31 goals. Messi alone dictated the team's rhythm, while personally delivering 8 goals and 3 assists. He is creating the overarching play, sure, but make no mistake, he's absolutely still the one arriving to finish it off. This incredible form brings his total to 117 international goals for the Argentine national team going into this tournament. 117. It's a monument to his consistency, proving that adapting his game has really only extended his window of dominance. Which led directly to this absolutely staggering number, 16. During Argentina's dominant 3-0 opening victory against Algeria in Group J, Messi scored a sensational hat-trick, and that hat-trick officially tied him with Germany's Miroslav Klose for the all-time World Cup goal-scoring record of 16 goals. Just think about that for a second. A player who now spends the majority of his time organizing the midfield just equaled the greatest striking record in World Cup history. Absolutely wild. Which leaves us with one final, frankly terrifying thought for any opposing defense aiming to dethrone Argentina in this 2026 tournament. You can try to crowd the midfield to stop his passing, right? Or you can drop deep to prevent his through balls. But if the tactical orchestrator is still fully capable of stepping up and scoring hat tricks, how do you possibly stop him? What you should really take away from this explainer is that Lionel Messi hasn't declined. He has just redesigned his genius. Thanks so much for joining me on this deep dive, and hey, keep an eye on those central pockets in the next match.